Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Insurance Town. I'm the Mayor, Heath Sheeran, and the host of this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this one was recorded live in Memphis, Tennessee at Graceland, and with my man Riley Talbot, we were talking about all kinds of fun stuff, and I wanted you to check it out. I don't do a lot of live recordings, but this one was one that I wanted to do, and I've got several more that'll be coming out. So you may have to forgive the audio on some of this. You may hear some background noise, but I love the live aspect of things. So it's real, it's raw. There's no edits, just us two having a good conversation, and it was so much fun. We were at the PIA of Arkansas conference in Memphis. So much fun. Great speakers, great lineup. My wife and her team did a great job. This episode is sponsored by my good friends over at Smart Choice. They are the fastest growing agency network, and they have been since like forever, so you need to check them out. They have such a great setup for you, and there's no question why 10,000 agencies across the country are using Smart Choice, and over $11 billion in written premium. Dude, you got to check them out. Also, my friends over at Canopy Connect, go to usecanopy.com/Heath and check it out. Make sure you get a demo. Make sure you take advantage of that discount for my citizens. They are phenomenal for the intake forms and for just onboarding, for getting deck pages, getting loss runs, getting driver's lists, getting vehicle lists, the whole nine. Like, Canopy Connect is a game changer. You got to check them out. usecanopy.com/Heath and tell them the mayor sent you, and you'll get a discount. Guys, I'm going to get out of the way and let you check out this awesome conversation with my man, Riley. Riley Talbot, what's going on, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Man, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad we're getting to do this live in Memphis.
Yeah, weather's great.
Dude, it is great. It's fantastic. Have you ever been to Memphis before?
Been to Memphis. I went to ASU.
So okay, yeah.
Not a long drive, but not here to Graceland or anything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool setup here, man. I really enjoy it a lot. And so people are good to me here. Everything's really good. So, all right, being someone who's been to Memphis, went to ASU, are you a barbecue guy?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm more of like a steak guy.
Yeah.
So now I've been on Beale, had some great food. There's one Saturday, I think I was like a freshman or sophomore in college, we sat on Beale Street at BB King's for like 6 hours.
Dude, that's a fun place to go.
A great day.
Yeah, that's a really good day. So, are you a blues guy? Do you like blues music?
Love blues music.
Yeah.
Parents, they had forced me to go to like Buddy Guy concerts and stuff when I was a kid to try to get some appreciation of different things besides Smash Mouth, or I was a child of like the late 90s, early 2000s. So like,
sure.
Like that alt rock was really big, and they're like, that's fine, you like that, but here's what you also need to appreciate. Oh, yeah. So grew up listening to that, and now I really, really appreciate it that I got to go see somebody like Buddy Guy, or like Willie Nelson's not the same category, but that same sort of like
storyteller type. Yeah.
Right. Somebody that tells a story with the music.
So what would you say your favorite kind of music is now?
Now, it's a bit of a mix. So I do like the modern, like electronic dance music.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I vibe to when I'm working. I need something upbeat, keep me going. But I love country. Okay. So I saw Luke Combs in a free concert down here in Memphis, like just outside of the FedEx.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like when Hurricane just came out, and I guess like the local radio station, they've somehow got a deal where we're gonna have a free Luke Combs concert.
Dude, that's amazing.
So that was a great time. Got to see Garth Brooks.
That's
FedEx.
That's a dream of mine.
That was a great concert.
I would love to see that, dude.
So
I'd love to.
It was a good time. Seen some good stuff there, and
dude, that is amazing.
Grew up. So my dad ran a small arena. Similar to like the Congo at Jonesboro.
Okay.
And so I grew up getting to go to concerts and things like that. So big appreciation of all kinds of music. So I've seen Metallica and Tool, and I've seen, like a Buddy Guy or Willie Nelson or ZZ Top, those type of things. So there's a big gap.
Right, but you've seen some good concerts, man. So
been very fortunate.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me, a little bit. Let's take a walk down memory lane. Tell me a little bit about you. Like, how did you end up where you are today? Like, tell me a little bit about your journey and tell me a little about you and how you ended up where you are.
Yeah, so I first came to Arkansas through Arkansas State. So I'm born and raised in a small town called Jackson, Missouri. It's right next to Cape Girardeau. Okay. So Boot Hill, kind of on the edge. Yeah. There's the last hill before you head south, and then it's flat the rest of the way. Sure. And had an opportunity to run cross country and track at Arkansas State. They were nice enough and kind enough to let me on the team. Yeah. And that's, kind of worked out fortunately that when I went there for my visit, my mom got sick. So I had to go to my recruiting visit all by myself. Oh, wow. So it was almost like an introduction of how would it feel like to go to college in this town by yourself. Yeah. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Walked away from the weekend saying this is where I want to go to school. Had a great experience there at ASU, studied business management, was in a fraternity. So I have a great group of lifelong friends that I made from that. And then got out of college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had worked at an insurance office in my hometown, like just a local independent shop. And at the time they were rewriting a whole bunch of Columbia book. Okay. That they were exiting the homeowners market and some of the dwelling properties. And so we had to rewrite them. And at the time, there wasn't digital inspections or any of those other things. You had to physically go out there and take photos. So that was my first introduction to say, what is this industry about? Like, it's more than just you sit at a desk and, push stuff in a computer and then there's a policy and you do something with it. And then, so I was looking at opportunities like, do I want to go into the workforce? Do I want to go to grad school? I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Yeah. But one of the companies that they sold for was Cameron Mutual Insurance. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, there's this job for Cameron Mutual as a property claims adjuster. Do you think that would be something that I could apply for? And they're like, sure, go for it. 100%. And so I applied, had an interview. I remember one of the first questions they said, do you know what an auger is? I said, like, what type of auger do you mean? Like, do you mean like for post hole digging, or you're like talking like a backhoe? Like, I know what both of those are. Sure. What they probably wanted to know is like, do you know what a farm auger is? And they were lucky, or I was lucky enough that they took a chance on me and started out with Cameron as a property claims adjuster for Southeast Missouri. Just small little claims. And by the time I left there, which I was there 6 years, I was handling, big farm losses, big grain bins, total fire losses, commercial, BP, DP, CP. Like, they offered a lot of lines. Sure. So it was a great way for me to learn what the policies actually do. Yeah. And I got to a point where I wanted a little bit something more and was presented an opportunity to be a territory sales manager for a different company. And so, and I actually would be working with my former college roommate. So I was like, cool. Okay, this is cool. Let's give this a shot. And so took that opportunity and then was presented with this option with Lumen Select to come on as their marketing director. And so I said, absolutely. To build something from scratch, having the perspective of being at a company that had been there for a long, long time, like Cameron, and seeing what had been successful or maybe what needed some improvements, and being that person that was far away, seeing the actual policies in force and what we were insuring, gave me a good perspective to kind of come through and not only talk with agents, but with this project with Lumen Select, say, this is what I think we need to do in order to be successful long term.
So with Lumen, what attracted you to Lumen to leave a great company that you were not like necessarily looking to leave or anything? It was just an opportunity. What about Lumen attracted you?
I think just that, being able to build something, build a book of business from scratch. Okay, yeah. So you're not inheriting something that has pre-existing issues, or something performance-wise isn't really there that you have to find a solution for. Yeah. It's saying if we're going to build something from scratch, how does that look, and what's going to make us successful for the long term? And so determining, what is an ideal customer for us, how we are going to vet those risks, determine what tools are at our disposal to try to make the best determination of this is going to be a fit. If it's not a fit, why? Making sure we explain that properly to our agents. If it is maybe on the in-between, what terms we would be able to write that at so it's successful for us and also still give something that's a viable product for the insureds. And it's been challenging, but I would not change it whatsoever. I've loved every second of it. So obviously I'm a pretty young guy. Yeah. So to have this opportunity at my age and see the long term of what this can be has been really exciting.
So in what I've understood and talked to agents about and seen on your website and whatnot, you guys are pretty tech forward in what you guys are doing, which obviously sets you apart from a lot of your competitors. What is it that you guys are seeing and doing within the tech space that sets you apart in such a different way?
Yeah, it's kind of a twofold approach. Having technology at our disposal that I haven't had in previous stops in my career has made it where we can make better determinations on a risk that much quicker, as opposed to relying solely on your agent base to give you the information on if a risk is going to be acceptable or not. We're using tools that can see long term, like what does this property look like? At one point, was it in poor condition and has improved? Has it been started out as a great property and then it slowly deteriorated? And then seeing how well those interact with the tools that we have to really see, is this something that we think is going to be a risk that fits? And then the other side of that is, how are these risks playing together? Because it's not just one particular house. It's how are all these houses or all these properties throughout a state, throughout a county, throughout a city, how are those affecting each other? And so our goal is that we're not giving red tape to the agents, that, as you begin to grow a book of business that's successful, that you're then hitting a stopgap and saying like, all right, you did an awesome job of writing business with us. Now you can't. Yeah. And instead it's saying, all right, you can continue to write and making sure we have the capacity to put it on. And those are mirrored together with the real-time information on the property, and then how we're putting that data together to say, do we still have capacity to put this on? Is it still going to be beneficial for us to take on this property?
So it's a super data-driven approach.
Very much so. Very much so.
And so is there a lot of training that goes into that with agents as you're talking to them, but working with Lumen to say, hey, we are data-driven, here's what we're looking for? Or do you have to do some coaching in that?
Sometimes. I think it's just giving the agents the understanding of, this is why you may see a message within the system. The ultimate goal is that we build a platform that is smart enough that it gives them real-time feedback. Because the name of the game at this point is efficiencies. Both efficiencies for us as a company and efficiencies for the agency. And so we want to give that information as quick as we can to let them know, this is a risk that we want you to proceed with, or this is a risk that we don't have capacity for, or there's something about it we don't like, or maybe there's something about this that we've identified that we just want to have our humans that are actually trained, have experience, to take a look at the property and say, yes, this can come through. We absolutely want this property, or no, maybe this isn't the best fit for it, and this is why.
Yeah.
So putting both of those things kind of together.
Well, you bring up a good point about the humans involved in it. A lot of people are stuck in this mindset. And I don't mean to disrespect my audience, but a lot of people in this mindset I've heard for years of like, technology is going to replace us all, and we're going to be replaced by robots or AI or technology or whatever it might be. But it sounds to me like you guys understand the fact that technology is there to aid the humans, to help out. Can you tell me a little bit about your thoughts on that?
100%. I mean, technology is only as good as the tools and the people that you have behind it. Yeah. So I've seen firsthand where technology is identifying something on a risk. Say they have a big backyard patio set. Well, some artificial intelligence may misidentify that. It's not as intelligent as it should be. Sure. And so I don't want to have that adversely deselect a risk for us. Yeah. And so that's why we have somebody with experience that knows what pitfalls properties have, what pitfalls auto risks have, and have them look at those accounts and be available. And then that's kind of the other thing that we really pride ourselves on, is that we are available all the time. You can contact us at your preferred mode of communication, whether that's text, email, call. We're here for that. Yeah. And so it's you get the best of both worlds, essentially, where you have a smart system that's autonomous, but we also are available, and we mirror those together. And then that's what we're trying to give our experience for our agents. And then in the same time, it's like we have two customers. We have the agents that are our customer, and then at the end we have the actual insureds. And we want to give that same technology and that same level of communication with our insureds as well. So if we can give that to our agents, that's that much more of an experience for those agents to then say, I've worked with this company. They're smart, they're helppful, they want to be of assistance when it's time to need your policy. And that's that much better of a selling point for those agents to tell our insureds.
Well, when you talk about the two sides of that, the end insured and the agent, a lot of times you hear that same question of why. Like, why did you say yes to this, or why did you say no to this? You're able to now, it sounds like, be able to give them that answer of why. And they don't have to wonder, because you can be able to say, based on this data, this human response, this, and this. Am I right on that?
Pretty much, yeah. I would say you're very, very, very close. What we want to do is, if you have a question as to why we're wanting or not wanting, we want to be able to give you a common sense answer. And so there's much common sense that we can apply from the information that we have to those insureds and to those agents. That's what we want to do.
Yeah. And so that common sense approach, again, it sounds simple, but it really can be complicated to try to give that common sense.
It can. It all sounds good on paper, and it all sounds good when you have a plan. It's just, how are we implementing that? And are we following through on what we said we want to do, and what's our end product? And as a new company, there's going to be, hills that you have to climb, and things that you have to improve. And that's going to come from just the experience of going through the process of, all right, this is what we said we wanted to do. How is it actually being put in force? And we've seen a lot of improvements with that.
Yeah.
There's been some things that haven't gone as designed, but that's going to be the case with any new company and any new entity. When you're trying to disrupt the services and the products that are available now, it's not going to all be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, a lot of people see disruption as a negative word, or they look at it as whatever it might be, but you guys are trying to do the disruption in a positive way and trying to disrupt in a way that's going to be beneficial to both the agent and the carrier, the end result, like the end user, all the above.
Right. I mean, it does no good to offer a product that then at the end of the day isn't going to be here for the long term.
Right.
The agents are upset with that. Insurers are really upset with that, because it's a very difficult spot that you're putting the agent in to explain why this company that I wrote you with, that I told you all these nice things about, is no longer here, or they're not offering their products anymore. And so the ultimate goal is long-term sustainability and having a product that's available for the long term. We're talking 50, 100, 200 years. And that's what we're trying to build.
And that, again, you bring up bumps in the road, things like that. It can't be easy going into new states when all these other carriers might be pulling out or putting on moratoriums or having issues with this or that. That approach has had to have been a little bit difficult. So there's had to have been some, like you said, hills to climb, some adversity to overcome. And it sounds like you guys as a company have a lot of that grit and that determination of, like, we believe in what we're doing.
For sure. I mean, we're not a huge team. Every person wears multiple caps, and that's to be expected at a young company. But going into states, some of them, I've had experience in. I'm a Missouri native. I went to Arkansas State, so I'm familiar with Missouri and Arkansas. But every state has its own challenges. Arkansas has had a challenge with carriers exiting the state or no longer being an entity that is offering a product. So I think it can be easy to get greedy in the sense that there's a whole bunch of available customers out there and there's a need within the market, but it's going to be sustainable long term if I scoop up 20% of that business and then I have to turn around and rewrite or move or non-renew a whole bunch of those policies. That puts a bad taste in both the insureds and the agent's mouth, and that's not the step. That's not where we want to try to grow. Sure. It's going to be, hey, this is continued to be what we want to write, and that's not going to change just because the market changes.
And entering in a new state, whether it's Arkansas or you name the state, across the country, you almost have to have that standpoint of each state's different, each risk is different, each perils are different. Like in Arkansas, Oklahoma, some of those other, we have a lot of wind and we have a lot of this, we have a lot of that, and you go, East Coast and West Coast, there's all kinds of different challenges there. And you guys have a team that kind of studies through that, works through that, or? Yeah.
I mean, every state has different rules, or really what I would say is every state has different acceptability of what they deem as normal. In Arkansas, percentage wind hail deductibles are a new product that's available, and applying an ACV roof endorsement is very new. In Oklahoma, it's not unheard of to have a 2% or a 3% wind hail deductible. Sure. It's not unheard of to have an ACV roof endorsement at year 5 or year 7. Yeah. And so it's evaluating what is the commonality for those carriers in that state and then seeing how we want to fit in with that. Sure. And so we're currently writing in Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, and then are going to be writing in Texas here pretty shortly. Yeah. So Texas is our next big push. And Texas is also a market that's dying for carriers. They need somebody to come in and have a market that's available. And so it's the same approach, just applying it to that state specifics. Like what is the normal here? And then how can we make sure that we're adversely selecting the risks that make the best fit?
So taking off the Lumen hat for a minute, as we talk about technology, we talk about there's AI and there's ChatGPT, there's all these different technology coming in. If you take off that hat and just talking to agents in the audience and carriers listening, like what's some advice that you might be able to give to someone looking to grow their book and grow their carrier selection and whatnot, using some of that technology, so like some advice you might give and say, what should I be looking for?
Yeah, it's tough to say. If I knew every answer for that, I maybe would be applying it.
Right.
But
just some practical advice you might say. What should they be looking for in a carrier or in an agency to work with?
I would say somebody that is not solely driven off technology, because then you're going to be, when you have these instances like we see also commonly, especially when it comes to properties, that there's unique characteristics about every single piece of business. And if you don't have somebody that you're available to talk with, that's frustrating. Yeah. Or if you're so data driven that you make a decision based off the data that's there, and then you're not applying any new information. Maybe the information that is making that decision from your data is 12 or 16 months old or 18 months old or even older, depending on how dense your population is in that certain area. I would be frustrated as an agent if I'm looking at a piece of property that I know what it looks like today, and the carrier is saying, well, at one point in the past, it looked like this, so it's an automatic no, because our data says this. That would be something that I would really discourage another carrier from going from, or an agency wanting to work with. Because there are a lot of good carriers out there doing very good things. I mean, that's why we're all here. But having that be the sole end-all be-all decider would be frustrating for me if I was in that agency side.
Have a good balance of both human and that technology or AI or whatever it might be.
Sure. And there's also a benefit of having a lot of humans, those people available that have worked in the industry. I think it can be frustrating at times, given the volume that we've seen, if that's the only avenue that you're writing business from. So, like you said, having a balance between those two and how you work those together is what I would want from an agency side. If I'm an agent saying, all right, I have either a book to move because my carrier is exiting the state, I'm looking to build a book, what's the ease of business for that? Those are the things that I'm looking at to say, this is something that I want to work with. It's making my life easier, and it's easy to work with the carrier, and that's the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. So, couple of hard-hitting questions here. We're in Memphis. We're in Memphis at Graceland, and I don't know if you know this or not, but every night, Elvis would get up in the middle of the night and have his peanut butter and jelly sandwich with banana. Yeah. And at night here, they serve that. Are you a peanut butter and jelly guy?
Oh yeah.
How do you do are you more peanut butter, more jelly? How do you make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Thick peanut butter.
Okay.
Thin layer of jelly. Now, I'm a strawberry jelly guy.
Okay, strawberry jelly. I like it. Me too.
Grape can be a little harsh at times. So I like the little seeds in the jam.
Oh,
for the strawberry. And then I like to put a little peanuts in there.
Oh, so that's a new one. Not crunchy peanut butter.
Not crunchy peanut butter. I like just a few. I'm a Jiffy guy. I'm a choosy moms choose Jif.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So Jif, then some salted peanuts, and then a thin layer, and then I like to toast my bread.
Oh man, you're a connoisseur. Yeah. You got it going on. Okay, I like that.
That's the ultimate PB&J.
I'll have to try that one. See, I'm peanut butter on both sides and then a ton of jelly in the middle. So
it's like oozing out.
Oh yeah, it's falling out. On the plate. Oh yeah, I gotta have a bib the whole night. Okay, last one. Okay, so you got Michael Jackson's King of Pop. You got Elvis, King of Rock and Roll. Taylor Swift's Queen of Everything. If you would be known as King of anything, what would you want to be known as? King of, or Prince of, whatever.
That's a tough one.
If you were to be known, if you wanted to be known as something, like I can't say King of Podcast because Joe Rogan took that from me. Yeah. So
he's got a pretty good crown.
Yeah. So what would you want that to be known for you?
Can it be as basic as like the king of or the prince of, like just hanging out, just chilling?
Sure, it can be.
Yeah. So whether that's,
I mean, I've seen you swing a golf club. You could be the king of golf, but
not good enough. Like you watch Scotty Scheffler this past weekend?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to win by 8 strokes.
Okay, maybe king of insurance golf. I don't know. But anyhow, no, you got a pretty good swing on you, though.
I love to play golf, but I think that plays into like, if we want to play golf, if we want to watch a basketball game or football game, we're cooking.
King of chilling out.
Yeah, just king of chilling out.
Hey, I like that.
Like king of vibes.
Okay, there you go. The king of vibes. I like that. King of vibes. Perfect. Man, thank you for hanging out with me. I know you got to get back in there to your crew, but thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Definitely, man. That was fun. Yeah, dude. Oh, let me hit stop on this, man. That was fun.
Well, thank you for having me. Hopefully I did okay for you.
Yeah, you did great, man. I thought it was good. I hope it was comfortable.
Yeah, you did a great job. It was very conversational.